Carlos. Started here.
So I brought in Ganesha. Oh, look who's here. Ganesha is here. So I want to talk about Ganesh a little bit. So I know not everyone can see the details because he's this version is black. If you go to India, I can't remember which is which, but southern India, they're usually depicted white, and northern India black, or it could be vice versa. I don't remember. But this was actually a TJ Maxx farm, believe it or not. And it's heavy, and it's from Thailand, and it's cool. But Ganesha is often depicted different ways. Notice he often has the Buddha type belly. That's not what we're talking about today. I've talked about a lot of the symbology of him. I just like the belly. So my inspiration of bringing him into our theme today is because I gave a Reiki session to a gentleman last week. And when I was at his right hand, like everybody's right hand, I usually ask if there's a Hindu deity that wants to come in, because I know a lot of the symbology regarding these myths and the gods and the goddesses, and then it usually pertains, because I don't do that to the very end. It usually pertains to the reading somehow. But Ganesh came up for him. And of course, when I'm doing this, I have my eyes closed, and I saw Ganesh's face come in, but it was only his face. It was not his body. And what was wanting to come to the forefront was the tusk. So when I first got this Ganesha, it was actually when I took over half moon, and I brought him into the studio. Now, when I moved him out of that first studio, and I was moving him, I ended up taking him home after that. And when I took him home, I was like, hey, there's a tusk missing. Did it get broken in the move? And I realized, no, it's supposed to be that way. So some depictions of Ganesha, he'll have two tusks, but in other depictions, he only has one. That's what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to tell you the stories of how he lost his tusk, and then I'll explain a little bit more what it means. So the simplest version is, or the simplest story I should share, is one story was a man was coming to see Shiva and Parvati. Shiva and Parvati were the parents of Ganesha. Well, they were on Mount Kailash, and they were having some time together. And Ganesha was at the base of the mountain. And he knew his parents were having some alone time, and someone was coming to talk to his father, and he blocked him. This guy did not know Ganesh was his son, and so he gets mad, and he throws an axe at him, and Ganesha doesn't move, and the axe takes off one of his tusks. Okay, that's one of the myths on how he lost his tusk. A second version is, if you look at the books, the ancient texts that come out of India, it's the Vedas, it's the Upanishads, it's the Sri Bhagavad Gita, it's the Mahabharata, and there's others as well. But there's different sutra books, but the one Mahabharata is a thick book, and it has a lot of the tales and the myths of the gods and the goddesses in it. Well, when the person was going to dictate the story to put it in book form, he needed a scribe to write it all down. And so Shiva offered Ganesha and wanted him to be the scribe. So the deal was they could work together, but in one sitting. It all had to be written out at that one time. Well, it's a big book. It's a lot of stories. And Ganesha's pen ran out. Well, he needed something to write with, so he got creative, and he tore off his tusk and started finishing the book with the tusk. The third story is my favorite, though, because it concerns the moon. You'll like this, Donna. So the third story of how he lost his tusk is, you know, I pointed out his belly, and he had gone to a feast. And what do you do at a feast? You eat a lot of food. And Ganesha was feeling a little gluttonous at that feast, and he was chowing down and eating all this food. And he left very happy. He was on his way home. He wanted to ride his, now, I don't know why he was given a mouse as his vehicle, but he decided it's too full to walk, so he decided to ride on his mouse back home And on the way home, a snake crossed the path. Well, what do snakes like to eat? Mice. And so the mouse got scared, went running behind the bush to hide. Well, that made Ganesha fall off the mouse, and his stomach burst open, and all the food started falling to the ground. And Ganesha didn't want that food to go to waste. He had enjoyed that food, and he's trying to put it back into his belly. And the moon is shining above and looking down and laughing hysterically at Ganesha. He thinks this is the funniest thing he's ever seen. Well, Ganesh is mad because he's being laughed at, and he's also trying to fix this problem that he's got. Hey, come on in. And so he wants to find that snake, and he wraps that snake around his belly and almost ties it on like a tourniquet, just try to keep it from falling out. And so he ties it all up, and that's how he got his food to stay in. But he cursed the moon and said, nevermore are you going to shine your light. You're going to be darkened, and no one's even going to know that you exist. Well, the moon got sad, and the moon's like, no, I'm meant to shine my light. And he's like, please don't curse me. And then Ganesha started feeling a little compassionate, and he decided, okay, but you're going to have phases where you're completely blackened out. So therefore, that myth explains the phases of the moon, where it goes from noon to full and back to noon again. And the last thing I want to tell you about this tusk I know she started with you. Anyway, so the tusk, what it means, what it's symbolic of, one is symbolic of emotion and one is symbolic of wisdom. Guess which tusk he tore off? The one of emotion. Because it represents duality. And what does duality bring? Drama and division. The drama and division is usually stirred by emotion. Therefore, he was okay with getting rid of the duality and the emotional piece. He wanted to maintain and hold on to the wisdom that can override the emotion. So there's my story about the elephant tusk. We're going to be doing a couple elephant poses today. One of them does require some movement. I'll try to slow it down for you in case it gets too much. But we're going to start on our backs. Did everyone grab a strap? Do you have one? Oh, here. Okay. You need one? Yeah, let's stay on our backs. All right, let's start on our backs. So let's take the hands to rest on the abdomen. Close the lids of your eyes. Let your belly be soft so it can bellow as you breathe. So try to create that Buddha or Ganesha belly as you breathe in. Let it really swell up and down. And as you exhale, feel it drop down and in. Know that when you're breathing this way diaphragmatically, this is affecting our emotional body. The emotional body ties back in with the solar plexus. So if there's anything you can take away from this practice today, it's if you're feeling dualistic, if you're feeling caught up in any drama or division, or you're emotionally charged, the best way to neutralize that is to breathe well. Take a few more deep breaths this way. Notice how the breath allows the mind to become more one-pointed, less distracted. How the breath allows you to tune back into your body. Develop a deeper connection to it. Now let's slide the feet closer together. And then start to draw the right knee in towards your belly and chest. Unroll your strap. And we're going to start off with Padangusthasana because we need the back of the leg to open if we're going to do one of the elephant poses. So your hands are reaching up to hold the strap. The strap is above the arch of the foot. And when you're pulling lightly on the strap, notice how it naturally flexes the ankle. Now put a little effort in your body by pushing the foot skyward and up into the fabric. Just like we experience 2 lines of energy in the body, I want you to experience 2 lines of energy using the strap. Now fire into your left leg. Plant the back of that left thigh. Shine up through the left toes. And you're just maintaining Padangusthasana A. Finding your edge of flexibility and letting go of any desire to do more. Accepting where you are here and breathing back into the belly. Now let's take both ends of the strap into the right hand. Let your left hand come down. And as you inhale, you're going to fan the leg off to the right side. And then as you exhale, you're going to bring it all the way across your midline. Not taking the twist, staying grounded on your low back. So the inhale, you're waving the leg to the right. And as you exhale, you're crossing it over the midline. So you're moving back and forth between Padangusthasana B and that IT band stretch. And if your body opens up to this, it's okay to fan the leg a little wider the next time. Checking out the inner thigh, seeing what's available. And the next time you fan the leg open to Padangusthasana B, pause there. Let your hips stay even. Your belly button is still face up towards the ceiling. Monitoring your breath. And then inhale, bring the leg back up. Swap hands to hold the strap this time. Let your right hand lower. Cross the leg over the midline, pause about halfway so that your sacrum's still on the floor. And then turn your pinky toe a little bit more into the strap. That's the knife edge side of the foot. Notice how that changes it up. And now before we take the twist, push the mound of the big toe more into the strap. And then allow the leg to continue to lower. Not all the way, but in that direction. So you are lifting the right seat off the ground and moving more into a spinal twist. It's affirming here to hold. I'm opening myself up to a new flow of energy within. Inhale, sail that leg back up. Exhale, bend the knees, slide the right leg long. All right, we're gonna do that same sequence here. Bend the left knee. Bring it in towards the chest to wrap the strap around the ball of the foot, and then extend that leg skyward. Press down through your right thigh, shine up through the right toes. And find your edge of flexibility here. Now we're going to approach it the same way we did before. So just slightly pull on the tabs of the strap. Notice how that creates that natural dorsiflexion of the foot. But now put action in the foot. Jut up a little higher through your heel. Push more into the fabric.
Feel the difference, the more engagement you receive. Waking up the hamstrings for the day. And let's go ahead and take both ends of the strap into the right hand, the left hand can fall away. So that as you inhale, you're moving towards Padangusthasana B, opening that leg away from your body. And then as you exhale, you're going to lift it back up and cross it over the body. Inhale, waving the leg to the left. And exhaling, flowing it across to the right. You're going to be more limited when you go to the right if you're keeping your sacrum on the floor. Casually moving in sync with your breath. And the next time you flare that leg open, pause, hold, but breathe. Inhale, bring that leg back up. And now teeter it over the body with your right hand, freeing up the left arm. And then using the knife edge side of the foot. So turning the pinky toe up towards the strap, towards the sky. And that's going to really affect the calves. And then if you push into the mound of the big toe, that will activate the inner calf, and then you can roll into your twist. Taking the supine variation. Opening ourselves up to a new flow of energy and consciousness within. Inhale, let's slowly roll back to center. Exhale, remove that foot. Return the strap to the side and bend both knees. So let's go ahead, because some of you don't have your block next to you. Go ahead and sit up, find a block, and have it right beside you, because we're going to need it eventually. And that way it's already set in place. Now flatten your feet and flatten your hands beside your hips. We're going to do a bridge flow first. So as you inhale, press down for the soles of the feet, circle the arms overhead, lifting into your bridge pose. And as you exhale, bring the arms back around and lower one vertebra at a time. Nice and slow. Continue. Inhale, build up to bridge. The more you root your feet, the more you're going to fire into the hamstrings, a strengthener, a toner for the glutes as you squeeze the buttocks, and then lower it back down. And then continue. Inhale, lifting to Bandhasana. Rolling the thighs towards each other, keeping the knees narrow. And exhale, contracting the core and rolling back one vertebra at a time. Go at your own pace, of course. Couple more. See if you can lift the chest towards the chin. And then create space between the two as you breathe out. Now the next time you lift up, stay up. But we're going to bring the arms out of the equation so that the hand can grab the block and slide it underneath your sacrum. And then once you sit on the block, remember the block can turn 3 different heights: low, medium, and high. Find what works to the shape of your body and take rest. So there's less muscular action, but notice you're still opening those hip extensors through the hip flexors. You're expanding the belly, you're getting this lift in your chest. This is great for the thyroid gland, the spleen, and the lymphatic system. But we're going to move towards one variation of elephant pose. So let's go ahead and sail the right leg skyward. All right, you're going to point the toes up towards the sky. So you're in it. This is one variation. Then you could also do this from an active bridge. And some people like to do this from wheel pose, which is a more advanced back bend. So just imagine the leg is like the elephant trunk, kind of trumpeting up towards the heavens. And now we're going to work with the hip. So your next action is taking the leg to the right side, swooping it down towards the front edge of the mat, and then inhale, bring it right back up to the top. Exhale, circle it down and around, and inhale back to the top. And you're continuing this process 2 more times. If you get some popping in your hip, if it doesn't hurt, sometimes it's just air being released from the joint. At the conclusion of that, be in elephant pose here, and then lower your right foot to the floor. Okay, briefly close your eyes. And I want you to really tune into your body, and I want you to feel what's happening inside your right leg compared to your left. You might notice the right side of your seat or your right hip feels a little heavier, maybe more sedated. You might have felt a little pins and needles or a little tingling effect to the leg and foot. Now let's sail the left leg up. Extending that elephant trunk, pointing the toes. Just being here. I would gaze towards the top foot, the Padayurga Drishti, so your mind's more focused and less distracted. Now let's work with the hips. Circle that leg off to the left side, swoop it down towards the front edge of the mat, and then inhale back to the top. Exhale, circle it down and around. Inhale. Keep that going with repetition. And this last one, lift and hold and breathe. And then exhale, lower the left foot down. Again, just rest here for a moment. Sit Bandhasana, close your eyes. Plug in the affirmative thought. I offer every thought as a bridge to divine grace. And then pick up the tailbone, squeeze and lift the buttocks away from the block. Roll down 1 vertebra at a time once it's removed. And then clasp a hold of your left knee with your hands. Hug it in towards your heart. All right, our new flow. Inhale, extend your left leg out, arms overhead. Exhale, hug the left knee into the belly and chest. All right, simple, gentle movement. Inhale, stay on the left side, left leg extends, arms overhead. Exhale, hug it in. If it's too much for the shoulders to lift the arms overhead, you can leave that portion out. If it's too much of a strain to hover your foot when you extend the leg out, you can lower it to the floor. So there are ways to make it a little bit more gentle. Last one. Now just hold your left knee, close your eyes again. And I want you to find that Goldilocks approach. where you're not hugging too much or too little. It's just right. Now descend the left foot. Tuck your right knee in towards your chest. You can wrap your hands behind your thigh or in front of your shin. And the same flow. Inhale, extend the arms overhead, right leg out. Exhale, hug that knee. And then continue and sync with your breath. Couple more. And on this last one, hold and hug the knee in. A half Apanasana. Again, finding that just right position where you're not tugging too much or not doing enough. You want length in the lumbar part of the back. You want to juice up this joint in the hip. And maybe affirm. I reduce my scattered forces to rise up and away into the sky. Let's go ahead and release the right foot. Find your strap, roll to one side, and come up for a seat. Go ahead and do this for me. Have your blocks set halfway down the mat on both sides. And that way it'll already be there. Okay. And then take your strap. That's all knotted up. We're gonna fold the strap in half. And we're gonna hold it in front of us, shoulder distance apart. Once we're all together, we'll lift the arms straight up overhead. Exhale, bend the arms, bring the strap just behind the neck. Good, inhale, lift the arms up. Good, exhale, bring it back in front of the chest. Good, continue, inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, bring it right behind the neck. You got it, inhale, arms up. Exhale, back in front of the chest, just one more set. Inhale, lift. Exhale, bring it back behind. It's okay to lean the head forward when you do that. Inhale, arms up. Good, exhale, come down. Then we're gonna change it. Inhale, arms up overhead, and then curve towards the, I don't know what to call that wall, blue, green. Chandrasana crescent. Inhale, rise back up, and exhale, take it to the opposite side. It's a little harder to do with the strap, but continue to breathe. Then inhale back up, exhale, bring it down. Awesome. Once you bring it down, come to tabletop position. When you arrive to tabletop position, we're going to take a moment to strengthen and stretch our wrists. So push down through your shins, ankles, and feet. And then inhale, you're going to roll open into cow. And you're going to exhale to cat, scooping and hollowing out the belly. And then continue, inhale, rolling over. Exhale, rounding out. We'll just do this a few more times so we're getting the back less stiff. Bringing in a little bit more fluidity. And then after cat stretch, inhale, return to tabletop position. All right, from tabletop position, make sure the fingers are fanned out and straightened out. You're gonna rock your weight forward, shoulders cross past your wrist towards your fingers. You're gonna feel that, hopefully. And then as you exhale, you're gonna lean shoulder past the wrist, backing up towards your feet. Good, we're just rocking forward as we inhale. And just gently rocking back on the exhale. Good, one more. Good, now slide your hands a little bit more forward of the shoulders, curl your toes under, launch into downward facing dog. When you lift your hips, soar them up. Root down through the foundation of your hands and feet. Extend your vertebrae. Bow your head. Look back towards that space between the big toes. From here, walk your hands back towards the feet. Land your heels. You're folding in half, releasing the upper body, releasing your head and your neck to Uttanasana, your standing forward fold. Try to gravitate the heart a little lower, a little lower, a little lower, a little lower. And now bend your knees. Once you bend your knees, take your arms in front of you and rise into Utkatasana, your chair pose. And when you're in chair pose, make sure you can see the toes. And on your out breath, you're going to breathe out and down. Breathing in and up. Breathing out and down. Okay, Ganesha is considered to be the removal of obstacles. The one to go through for beginnings, the ruler of the pelvic floor. So I want you to think about any sticky residue that may be in your aura, any obstacles you may be facing in your life, and just feel as though you're sweeping this away and clearing it out. Good, inhale, come all the way up, straight legs, straight arms, come up to Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, swan dive to Uttanasana, your standing forward fold. From your standing forward fold, we're going to move towards an elephant pose. So we're going to heel, toe, the feet away to the outer edges of the mat. Take your hands now to your hips. Drill the feet down and use the back of your heart to slowly come up. Good, once you come up, we're going to lace the hands together to this mudra. The arms are going to lift up overhead. So I don't want you to imagine you're chopping wood, because if you're doing it with so much force with your arms, you might rip your hamstrings. We don't want that. So we're going to come down with pace, but being cautious. Okay, so it looks like this. And then it goes through the legs. And then we inhale up, exhale through the legs again. Okay, so do you see what I mean? You have to be a little cautious with your momentum so that you're still honoring your hamstrings. Imagine your arms are like the dancing trunk of an elephant. And then come up halfway, roll the right shoulder back, look up underneath that right arm towards the front door. That's it. And then exhale, drop back in, shine the hands through the legs. Inhale, come halfway up, roll up underneath the left arm, and then exhale, release. Now you're flowing back and forth, halfway up with the twist. One more to each side. Now stay in the standing forward fold, but start to heel, toe, the feet, more like Uttanasana. From here, walk your hands out to plank. So if you need tabletop, it's okay to lower your knees. If you need extra support, feel free to use knee pads, a blanket, or something for support. Otherwise, you can be in plank with the knees off the floor. Take one last deep breath, building that bone density, tapping into your internal strength, and then sink your knees, open and lift your heart up, dog. And then exhale to extended child's pose. Now this is our flow. Inhale, rock forward, up dog. Exhale, child's pose. Do 3 more. Now hold child's pose if it's comfortable for you. If child's pose is not comfortable for you, then get in an alternate position, maybe flipping to your back with your knees bent. I'm just going to take a moment to go within. I want you to notice when we do little flows, if there's anything that gets a little stirred up. Let it settle back down and feel the wave on your brow. This is activating an acupressure point for mental peace. It's also a great way to withdraw from the world, to go into our thinking box. In case you were feeling like you were being pulled in 2 different directions. Go inside, drop into that layer of discernment and wisdom. Choose what's best. Inhale, rock up to hands and knees. Exhale, return to downward facing dog. Now I want to get into a standing pose. We're going to work with triangle. So we're going to step the left foot forward. We're going to lower the back heel to the mat, and we're going to lift the hands and come up to stand. So the feet are prepared for triangle. The left toes are facing the front short edge of the mat, and the back foot is more parallel to the back of the mat. Now we're going to do something different. We're not going to get into it the same way. The block is here, right? We're actually going to face that front door, or you will, and you're going to lean down to find that block on its tallest height. Once you have your hands set here, make sure your feet didn't alter their position. You're going to pick up your right hand and take it to your hip. You're going to grip that block, lift the block, and you're going to swing your torso over the front leg and set the block down beside the outer ankle. Now I want you to look down at your left hand. How does it feel to have the hand on top? Maybe you need fingertips instead of a flat palm. Depends on your inner thigh. Line up that shoulder so it's stacked over the thigh bone. And then sail that right arm skyward. Energize the fingers. Turn the palm to face the light coming through the blinds. Roll the left shoulder back towards your chest. That's it. Beautiful. Trikonasana. From triangle pose, hopefully you feel the rotation, the twisting element here. But if you bring your right hand down and look down towards that left foot, you can feel the twist now. When you inhale, sail that right arm back up towards the sky. Holding and breathing here. Affirming energy and joy flow down to me. Now look back towards your left foot. Lunge the knee, bring the right hand down, spin off your back heel. Send this block to your left over to the top corner so you can flatten both hands to step into your plank position. Good, from plank, back up to downward facing dog. Hips sailing up, creating this inverted V shape with your body. We're gonna approach the same pose, but to the second side. So here we want to inhale, step the right foot forward. We're gonna lower the back heel to the sticky mat. We'll float the hands up and cautiously and safely come up to stand, checking in with the feet, making sure the block is there, folding down, keeping the spine long. Left hand stacks to the hip. The block will lift and will swing open like a gate, taking the block to the outer edge of that front ankle. Looking down to make sure that shoulder lines up over the thigh bone. And then roll the left shoulder back and fly the left hand up in the air. And the right shoulder rolls back towards the chest. It's a very dynamic pose. Long linear lines. In case you didn't feel that twist, experience it now by looking down, bringing the left hand down. And now feel the twist when you inhale, open back up. Allowing energy and joy to flow down to you. On your exhale, look down, lunge that front knee, grab both blocks now, set them on either side of the front foot. Allow the heel to lift on the back foot and slowly straighten out the right leg. Pick up one of your hands and slide it across the rim of your pelvis. Make sure both hip bones are facing forward. Because sometimes that back hip wants to crank open. We want them to be level and even. From here, lengthen out through the spine, shine your heart through, and then lift your right arm up. And slowly root down through your left hand, revolve open to your right. This is a revolving triangle. Beautiful, Frank. Yes, you can bring your hand to your hip if that's too much for your shoulder. That's it, Trisha, good. Exhale, bring the right hand down, lunge that knee, bring that back foot forward, and step the right foot back behind. Stay on the ball of the foot. We're basically just moving into the second side. The back heel's off the floor. The hips are square. Use your hand to check that out. Are they really? The touch won't lie. You'll be able to tell. And now lift and pick the heart up. Gaze out with your eyes. Maybe this is all you need today. Maybe you want the revolving twist, sending the left arm forward and revolving open to the left. This is a really tough pose. I don't expect you to stay in it long. Let's go ahead and bring that left hand down. Let's lunge that left knee. Set the back knee to the floor. And then cautiously pull back with the left knee. All right, we're back down. Send the blocks out. Come down to a seat. And let your legs extend in front of you. All right, so in the last class, we built up to an arm balance because there's another elephant pose. We're not doing that one, but we're gonna bend the right knee and we're gonna flex that left ankle. We're gonna pick up the foot from the pinky toe side here. And we're gonna lift it up and we're gonna then cross the left hand to hold the foot and cross the right hand over to hold the right knee. And so this may be all you can manage today. This is great. This is it. If you like this version, you can loop the arms up underneath. You can also do a cradle hold with your arms. It all works, okay? Lift up through the top of the head, through your breastbone. And then you're just squeezing the leg a little closer. Inhale, lift. And exhale, just squeeze it a little closer. Third round, inhale, lift. This is called pulling the leg pose. Just pulling it closer to the heart and then rock the baby side to side, little hip work. All right, we're gonna take the first two fingers of the right hand, peace mudra, wrap it around the big toe and pull it back. Send your left arm out, pulling the bow pose. This is the pose that led us into the arm balance, but we're not doing the arm balance. It looks very similar though. Elephant trunk, because it's like this. Right, it's very similar to this actually. We're just not having to use the upper body strength. All right, release. All right, bend the left knee. Pick up the foot from the pinky toe side, and then transfer the right hand to that foot and the left hand to the left knee. This may be where you're at, okay? And this is great. You may prefer this number. You might preference this action. It's all good. But lift and extend your vertebrae, and then exhale, you're squeezing the leg. I don't know why, I've told you this before, but every time I do this pose, I think of being a child and my mother knifing out the core of the orange. So you could just bring the orange and juice it, you know, just drink all the juice from the orange. That's what I think about when I think of a squeeze. Maybe it's because you would squeeze the orange to get the drink. And then rock side to side. I never did that for days. Are oranges so good for you? Yes. They are? Okay, perfect. Okay, good. When I get oranges, we're gonna do that. And then lace the first two fingers around that big toe. Pull it back, crank it up underneath that left arm. Shine your right hand out. Now here, it's very easy to get posture. Try to lengthen the back. And even if that means letting go in the hip a little bit, because it's all connected, right? Good, and release. Okay, we're gonna try something. This is your peak pose for today. Remember how we plugged a block underneath for bridge? You may still need that. Okay, if you do, go ahead and have it back beside you. If you wanted to try it the active way, you'll be lifting, scooping the shoulders, wrapping the hands around the waist, and lifting a leg. Or a second option, because that's kind of high. If you can't get the hips that high, but your shoulders are available to go under, you might be able to interlace your hands and then lift the leg. But again, that's more effort. If you want to keep it gentle and sweet, go back the beginning way and use a block. All right, so let's begin. Inhale, push down through the feet and outer shoulders and lift and elevate your hips. Now already you may be able to determine, I want that block, or I'm going to try not to use that block. And if you're not going to use the block, figure out which is best. Hands laced, shoulders tucked, or shoulders tucked and hands wrapped around your waist. And then we'll inhale, start with the left leg. The foot will rise. Now we're not doing the hip work, we're just being stationed here. I saw this viral video. You can lower that foot and take it to the other side. Because I know being active requires more effort. I saw this beautiful viral video of a herd of elephants crossing the road. You guys may have seen this too. And a car stopped for them and was filming. You can lower that leg. You can tuck and lift away from the block and come on down. And take happy baby pose. So when the whole herd finished crossing the road, one of the last elephants came back to the street, looked at the driver who was filming, and nodded and trumpeted and kept going. It was like, thank you, right? It was so sweet. So they say elephants are actually really intelligent. Yes. And I love that the one tusk left on Ganesha represents wisdom. All right, we're gonna do a spinal twist to end. So hug the knees in. Open your arms wide. Let the knees roll left. And when you're lounging here, I want you to close your eyes. I want you to open up that channel of breath. And again, I want you to consider, is there anything that has you shackled? Are there any obstacles before you? There's a lot of new energy coming in with this eclipse. Consider ways where you can go beyond any barriers, any limitations, any obstacles. Or maybe taking this time to have some sort of invocation to ask for guidance or help. Inhale, roll the knees through center. Exhale, land them over to the right side. Fully. Hopefully you're discovering by now that your mind is more cleared, body is more awake, your heart is more open. Just gently unroll from that twist. I'd like you to consider what you would like for Shavasana. Do you need Stonehenge to lift the legs up? Your back has been tweaked. Maybe you just like enjoying being on your back and want just the bolster plugged up underneath your knees or a blanket under head. I'm gonna turn the overhead lights down. I want you to take a moment just to consider what the importance of the tusk represents and how this is stemming from a culture who brought in this symbology thousands of years ago, and how it's applicable still today. That's why I love yoga. It never gets old. Think about how dualistic our society has become, how divisive it's become, how emotionally charged it's become. And how we can be and operate more wisely if we neutralize that emotional charge. If we choose to neutralize that pull towards one narrative or another. This is the state of yoga. And this is what's needed. It's needed for our own internal peace, and it's needed for outer peace. So this is your opportunity to continue to neutralize yourself, to send to yourself. So that you can walk out and be connected to your innate wisdom. So rest, breathe. Start to breathe down into the belly. Begin to wiggle the fingers, toes. Eventually drawing the knees in. Turning to one side. Acclimating there first. Coming up to sleep. Joining your hands together for prayer. May we all walk away from this practice being reminded of the importance and the power of the breath, the ability that it has to neutralize any charged emotions. It creates division or drama. May we be reminded to pour back into the wisdom that we have within. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Namaste. Have a beautiful week and eclipse